Starting from the dawn of history, people have moved starting with one spot then on to the next. Mass movements like the gold rush of the 1800s and the incomparable relocation of the 1900s were driven by populaces roused by noteworthy occasions, dire requirements, potential open doors, and misfortune. Likewise, coronavirus was an impetus for development. As per U.S. Postal Assistance information, the pandemic expanded movements in 2020 by more than 94,000 contrasted in 2019. Numerous new moves have been everything except average. The public relationship of realtors, 2022 profile of home purchases and dealers revealed that the distance between the home purchases as of late bought and the past home, commonly around 15 miles, leaped to 50 miles in 2022. Extra information showed that unassuming communities and country regions had the biggest expansion in homebuyer action. What's driving the change? What's more, how could land experts turn to explore through it? After consuming the majority of her time on Earth in New York City, Katie Krimer needed a difference in speed and view. In 2021, she moved to the more modest, more affordable city of Philadelphia. Not long later, another world called. Today, she lives on Drowsy Goose Homestead, an epithet she and her significant other begat for their 3.4 section of land property in Ulster Province, NY. The home and connected animal dwelling place, worked during the 1850s, sit far back from the street, encompassed by trees. Krimer and her significant other visited the home for all intents and purposes. As her representative helped the camera through the great doorway and up the wooden steps, she knew promptly that she expected to take the action. It's a long ways from the cobblestone roads of Philadelphia or the horizon of New York. I realized I needed quietness, and I realized I needed more nature, Krimer says. Generally speaking, NAR's report observed that moderateness, vicinity to family and more space were driving outside factors for purchases. While these variables are steady with earlier years, a more profound gander at one of the most worthwhile gatherings of purchases uncovers an outrageous shift. Rehash purchases made significant life trades, says Jessica Lautz, NAR Vice President Financial Specialist and VP of Exploration. At the point when you take a gander at your common recurrent purchaser, they're moving at a middle distance of 90 miles, a lot farther than in past examination, she says. This suggests that individuals are searching for various things with regards to neighborhood decisions. As indicated by Katrina Johnston Zimmerman, Philadelphia-based anthropologist and organizer behind Think Urban, the excursion begins inside. Many individuals felt a specific direness for reason throughout everyday life, and to meaningfully impact the manner in which they were living, Zimmerman says of the pandemic prompted changes. This was a combined and aggregate existential emergency. At the point when you're confronted with something outrageously very close, am I cheerful? You're compelled to return to it as a matter of fact. Zimmerman refers to the general significantly impact in outlook from attempting to live toward more reason-driven way of life choices as a key shift. As of now not bound, making the way for a significantly impact in outlook was the control of the remote and half work model. The virtual work style influenced almost 30 million laborers through 2021, as indicated by a report from the US Evaluation Agency. The entire scene of my industry has been totally changed by coronavirus, said Krimer, an authorized specialist who presently works from a distance. Relatedly, NAR's report refers to that 33% of purchases recorded comfort to a task as a critical figure their local decision, contrasted with 42% the prior year. The drive time in the clothing rundown of neighborhood decisions has dropped down the rundown, says Lautz. Individuals' accommodation to their occupation is less significant on the grounds that you can undoubtedly telecommute. And keeping in mind that movement has eased back since the level of the pandemic, NAR's most recent relocation patterns report viewed that as in 2022, towns like Ocala, FLA, Tallahassee, Florida, Charlotte, North Carolina, and Savannah, Georgia, kept on acquiring purchases and bested the rundown for net internal movement. They can work from a distance, and they view Charlotte just like an unbelievable city to live in, says Tiffany Johannes, CRS, GRI, Senior Supervisor and Merchant in Control at Max Chief Carolinas in Charlotte. Purchases are attracted to the area's moderateness, amusement, parks, and quality schools. Charlotte today sees around 100 or more individuals daily moving to our area, adds Johannes, 2023 leader of the Overhang Realtor affiliation. A large part of the movement has been to suburbia and then some. By and large, NAR examination shows, unassuming communities saw a 9 rate point expansion in deals, and country regions saw an increment of 6 rate focuses. At the point when individuals move farther, not really pretty much having additional land, Johannes says. Reasonableness was a variable even before the pandemic. Furthermore, presently numerous provincial and rural purchasers are searching for where they can have more arranged and individual encounters. They are finding esteem in a home that can have a studio connected or a greater carport, contingent upon what their side interests are, she notes. Nowadays, when she's not working or redesigning her project home, Kreimer finds balance through exercises like composition, climbing and birdwatching. I'm now beginning to ponder what arranging stuff I can get into, she says. Assuming you construct, they will come purchases like Katie Kreimer are carrying new life to more modest towns, notices Thro Petersheim, home developer and organizer behind Catskills Ranches in Hudson Valley, NY. In the wake of riding the flood of early pandemic vulnerability, Petersheim could see that purchases were putting enormous in exception areas like Hudson Valley. A little wave turned into a wave, turned into a tsunami, turned into a torrent, he says. Starting from the beginning of the pandemic, Catskills Homesteads has created more than $40 million in deals, up from $8 million out of 2019. Regions like the Hudson Valley, once known for occasional guests, out of nowhere had a populace hoping to remain. As per a report from the Hudson Valley example for progress, without precedent for over 10 years, the 9-province district acquired individuals in 2019-2020 than it lost. It wasn't clear until the next year that this was feasible, expresses Petersheim of the spread he originally felt in 2020. Be that as it may, as he worked for all-day occupants, new supermarkets, shops, and eateries jumped up to fulfill the additional need. Other more modest or country regions like Williamson District, encompassing the flourishing tech center of Austin, Texas, are additionally increased advancement exercises to address the issues of approaching purchases. The region's solid web broadband capacities and home moderateness set it among regions like Forsyth Province, GAR, Douglas District, Colo, and Delaware Province, Ohio, on NAR's rundown of top work-from-home provinces, all regions that have kept on outperforming the typical in their states and the nation over.